everyone, and welcome to Two-Player Quest, where I help you on your quest to find the best two-player board games for you. In today's video, we have Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest by Stonemaier Games. In Libertalia, you play as the captain of a flying pirate ship, trying to use your crew as effectively as possible to get as much loot as you can. But how many ships makes this game fun? Let's find out! Libertalia is a game for 1 to 6 players that plays in 45 to 60 minutes. It's at a 2.17 on BoardGameGeek for complexity, so it's a relatively easy game to play, and it's low to no luck in this game. Everybody has the same cards, everybody gets the same hand, so it's all about strategy. This is what the board can look like at the start of a 2-player game. Now, on the left-hand side, we have the loot token bag. We have the board with the loot tokens, the reputation track, the other player's deck, their graveyard, their points, their doubloons and their treasure chest, our deck and graveyard, extra doubloons, and the map in general. So at the start of every voyage, you add certain loot tiles to the map. You gain money or doubloons here for the amount of doubloons that is shown on the reputation track, and every player gains 6 cards. Now, which 6 cards these are depends on what is drawn. One player, or what we have, is we have one deck that is shuffled, the rest of the decks are not shuffled. From this shuffled deck, you draw 6 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and every player now takes these 6 cards from their decks and put them in their hands. Every player now has their own set of these 6 cards, which all have abilities. At the top here, you have the initiative order of when they go. Then you have here a daytime effects and end of turn effects with the anchor. Now, not all cards have end of turn effects, but some do. Then, for every day in the voyage, the player chooses what card to play. So you start with day 1, and every player chooses 1 card to play. Once all characters have chosen their cards, you turn them around and place them on the island in initiative order. So with 2 players, the midshipman is the line at 20.5. Then, in initiative order, we do the daytime tasks. So that is here, lose half your doubloons down, so that player would lose half their doubloons, but at the end of the round, they would gain 10. Then we do the other actions. Then, on the way back, so counter initiative order, we do dusk actions. Now, dusk actions also include choosing one of the loot tokens of that day. So as green is last in initiative order, they get to choose first which one of these tokens they want. Every token has its own unique ability, as can be seen on the map here. The green character chooses first and chooses to saber off the island the carpenter, meaning that that player doesn't gain the carpenter in his ship, so it doesn't gain the positive effect of the carpenter. Then after you've chosen your loot tile, the cards that are still on the island go to the player's ships. Certain cards have nighttime events, and these happen at night. After the first round, the players choose one of the other cards from their hand to play into the island. After playing 4 cards in the first voyage, 5 cards in the second voyage, and 6 cards in the third voyage, the players end the game. But between each voyage, the players gain new cards. So at the end of every voyage, you activate the anchor abilities shown on your cards, for example, on that one, or that was on the carpenter. Then any doubloons you have left, you add into your treasure chest, and you discard the loot tokens that are still on the board. And then you set up for the next voyage. You fill up the piles of loot. You keep all the cards of crew members that you haven't used. So you may gain some crew members in voyage number 1, but not use them until voyage number 3. So at the start of a voyage, you fill up the loot trays. You gain 6 characters, again, from the random character stack, and then you draw 6 new characters, and you gain doubloons equal to your reputation track. At the end of 3 voyages, the player with the most amount of doubloons in their treasure chest is the winner. Learning how to play Libertalia is quite simple. I would say it takes about 5 or maybe 10 minutes. Then you can get started on the game. You will be reading the cards and seeing what they do, but that's the same with pretty much any other game. So 5 to 10 minutes and you can get started. I would recommend Libertalia firstly and mainly to people who love strategy games, love finding good combinations, who really like the choosing and puzzling and what is best to do now and constantly adapting to the game, adapting to what the other players play and what the game does. Now, a tip that would be useful, or at least a thing that would be useful in this game, is having a good memory. All the players have the same cards, at least to start with, and they gain the same things. So if you can remember what other people have played, then you can take that into consideration when playing your next turn. So that can really help out your strategy. But I would most certainly recommend this game to people who are trying to get into more serious board games. So who want to get into a bit more complex board games and want to have a bit of a taste of the strategy that might be involved in those games. Because this is still quite a simple game, but the strategy is very important. It's basically only a strategy game. So if you want that extra bit of experience or find out if strategy games are your kind of thing, then this is absolutely a good game. Libertalia is a nice game to play, especially with more. You can play it up to 6 players and that's very useful for big groups. But it doesn't come to the table that often due to its length. If we are with more players, we tend to like games that take longer than 45 to 60 minutes. The strategy aspect of this game is a lot of fun. We really like the amount of thinking that's required, the combinations you can find. It's really good. But if it's just the 2 of us, we aren't grabbing this game. And frankly, if there are 6, I would most certainly recommend it because it is one of those games in which you can play with 6 players, but it's not necessarily that much longer with 6 players, so it's really good. Due to its length and strategic introduction, as I'm going to call it, as I said before, I really think this is a good game for newer players. That is also who we'd be playing it with. People who are sort of still learning the ropes of board games. There is a solo variant in this game, and that's basically the only player count we haven't actually tried. In general, I would say this game plays so much better with more players. While it is a fun 2-player game, once you start playing it with 4 or 5 or 6, it really gets interesting. This is due to the sort of cat and mouse game that you can sometimes have with the various cards. You can sometimes really get in each other's way, which is a lot of fun. So in general, I would say this game certainly works better and definitely up to the 6 players, because with 6 players, it's still a very good game and it doesn't take too long. So that's something that we really like about this game. Just the amount of time it takes with more players, because sometimes you have 6 players and not all games work well with 6. But in general, I would say it works well at 2, it works well at 4, it works well at 6, it works well at pretty much everything. So I would definitely say this game is pretty much every player count approved. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our review of Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. If you want to see another one of my reviews, please click up here. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, put them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you next time on 2 Player Quest.